सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।
Thank you. So, Andrew, would you like to start reading the verses one by one with a small pause in between?
One looks upon the self as a wonder. Similarly, another speaks of it as a wonder, and another hears it as a wonder. Still another, even after hearing about this self, does not understand it at all. Bharata, Arjuna, this Atman, the indweller of the bodies of all beings, is ever indestructible. Therefore, you ought not to grieve for all these people. And also, from the standpoint of your own duty, you cannot waver, for there is nothing greater to a Kshatriya than a battle for the cause of Dharma. Partha, Arjuna, only lucky Kshatriyas get this kind of battle, which has come by chance, and which is an open gate to heaven. But if you refuse to engage in this war, that is in keeping with Dharma, then, forfeiting your own duty and honor, you will gain only sin. Also, people will speak of your unending infamy. For the honored, dishonor is surely worse than death. The great warriors will consider you as having retreated from the battle due to fear, and you, having been so highly esteemed by them, will fall in their esteem.
Okay, thank you. So as we see, again, we have verses which are self-explanatory, self-explained. So they're not some kind of difficult or they need analysis. But nevertheless, if somebody of you wish to clarify something or to ask something, he or she is free to do so. In general, the second chapter is not a difficult one. It is mostly like a continuance of the introduction of the first chapter. So it is not a very difficult one, and that's why I wish to pass it a little bit more fast in order to go to the chapters where there is a lot of difficulty and we may stay more and to analyze in depth. So from the previous presentation of Nagaraju, are there any questions or the need of clarification? All right, it was a fantastic presentation and very clear, so it is logical not to be a need for clarification. For today, I thought to have a presentation from another brother from Denmark. another Sishya of mine who lives in Denmark. His name is Emil. He's today with us. We had a lot of private satsangas together, and the last 6 months we are more, let's say, we meet more often, and Emil had a great progress in his understanding, and his questions are really always very profound. And I thought that to ask him to present some of his questions on our previous private satsanga, and to deal with them all together. Also, this is something that I wish to happen from all of you. Like each and every of you, it will be great if you can present some questions and answers, or a presentation for a topic of Vedanta that you love and you wish to present. So for the next satsanga, Andrew, can you present something in our next satsanga? Something that you like. Open your microphone.
I could do like a very, 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 very short presentation here.
Sure. It doesn't need to be a big one. I just want to involve all of you into a little bit homework and a little bit writing, because when you write, it is more powerful, because you are more focused, and this will help you very much in your understanding. So from time to time, we'll do it in circles. So when the circle is finished, then the next one will start again. So we will start again after this circle finished. We'll start again from Malati. When Malati will stop and will end after Andrew, Nagaraju will start again, and so on and so forth. Yes?
I am not technically so sound to give the presentation.
There is no need to be in a PDF format or something. It can be in your page, in your white page, to write some things and to present. I mean, there is no need to create a PDF presentation or something like official. Just some thoughts and some things that you understand or you want to present, something that it is convenient for you. So there is no need for a PDF presentation or things like that. And I'm sure that you can present something very nice, because we also have private satsangas, and your understanding goes deeper and deeper. And I'm sure that you can present something very, very deep. So we'll start with Emil. So there are some questions that we did last week that he had, Emil. And some of the answers he remembered and he wrote them down, some of the answers that I gave him. And to some other questions, he didn't remember the correct answers that I gave, and we can deal with them all together. So, Emil, are you ready? If you are ready, you can start. Open your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Very slowly. There is no need to be in a hurry, because the questions are very, very profound and very difficult. And try to read very, very slowly.
Okay, so the first question is, would you say that consciousness is eternal, or did it come into being at some point? So my answer to that is that you cannot say that consciousness is eternal or non-eternal because it is beyond time. It is also beyond space. Time and space are concepts only. If it is beyond time, how could it then have come into being at some point? This is impossible. Neither can it be said that it exists always, for that again would assume that it exists in time. It is just simply a beingness that is beyond both time and space.
All right. Anything that needs to be clarified here? Is it easy for all of you? So again, I repeat, consciousness cannot have a beginning. And since consciousness cannot have a beginning, it cannot have also an end. Consciousness is unborn. In Advaita Vedanta, we call it anandi, beginningless. So even Maya is beginningless, anandi. And this is very, very important to know. Anytime, especially you feel frustrated and very, very pessimistic, and you have any kind of negative emotions, just repeat to yourself, I am anandi, I am beginningless consciousness, I am unborn, nothing can harm me, I am infinite, infinite consciousness, awareness, Brahman, and this is my glory. So these words will remind you the truth about your real self. Yes, Emil, you can continue.
So the question is, what about the universe? Did it come into being at some point, or is it eternal? For which I don't have an answer.
So again, the universe cannot have a beginning. We speak about a beginning when we speak about Pralayam and the night and day of Brahma, Brahmaji. But this is in a figurative way. Consciousness, there is only, consciousness only exists, and consciousness gives the substratum or offers the substratum for the universe to appear and disappear. So the universe is only an appearance. It doesn't have a beginning point or an ending point. Although if we see it from the standpoint of the scriptures, from a beginner's point of view, we say that a particular point of time, we have the waking up of Brahmaji and the day of Brahmaji and the projection of the universe, Jagat. And then at a particular point, according to the scriptures, we have the passing by of the yugas and the kalpas and all this. And then we have Pralayam, the night of Brahmaji. So we have a projection and then we have the disappearance of the projection. But again, is from the standpoint of the separate individual eyes. But from the ultimate point of view, there is no such thing as the universe. There is no Jagat, there is no Jivatmas, there is no even Isvara. There is no even God. So depending from the standpoint that we look at, there are scriptures that they speak about the beginning or the end. So we have the beginners, we have the advanced students, and accordingly, we may answer these questions. Is it clear, or you would like to elaborate more? Emil, is it clear for you?
For me, it is clear. I don't know if anybody else has any questions.
Yes, Nagaraju? Yes, Nagaraju, you can speak. Open only your microphone if it is not open. You have closed your microphone.
My microphone is on.
Yes.
Now it's audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
now it's audible. Yes.
Okay. You just mentioned about the universe being an illusion from the Advaitic perspective, but now the very same scriptures do refer to the 14 lokas that exist, and as you had also mentioned about the waking up and the pralayam of the Brahma's time. So how do we actually translate this into Advaitam? So do we need to believe that the universe does exist across 14 lokas, or do we need to take that also as an illusion?
Yes, one very nice key that we can use all the time in Advaita Vedanta is the deep sleep without dreams. When we are in that state, we can be very sure that there is no Jagat, there is no universe. And there is no also the reflection of consciousness this moment. So consciousness is there, but we don't have the Sukshma Sarira to be alive. It is in a dormant state. So consciousness cannot be in a reflection. Now, in the dream with in the sleep with dreams, again we see a universe. We see people. We are interacting with people, and there is also the appearance of time. So if we have an appointment, we may see in the dream that the time is now to go to our appointment, and there is this sense of time. And there is the sense of space and things like that. But upon waking up, we realize that everything that appeared as space and time was only an illusion. And it was only in the screen of consciousness. But we keep not noticing that. It is just like in the cinema, in the screen, when we see a movie that we love very much, we become distracted from the protagonists, and we forget that what we see actually is the screen. And there is nobody there. There are no protagonists there in reality. It's only an appearance. So the universe appears to exist, and in Advaita Vedanta, we do not negate the appearance of Jagat, the universe. We do not negate the appearance of Jivatmas. We do not negate the appearance of Isvara, God. We do not negate anything of this. We negate the inherent existence or the separate existence or the autonomous existence of these things. We say that the essence or the nature of everything that appears and disappears is illusory. And everything appears and disappears as an appearance in consciousness, in Brahman. Just like we do not negate a pot, but we negate the potness, the nature of the pot, that it is potness. We say in Advaita Vedanta that the nature of the pot is clay. So we say that here we have the appearance of a pot. We don't negate that, but we negate that the pot do exist as inherent existence of a pot. We say that it is actually just clay. The same with the waves in the ocean. We do not negate the appearance of the waves in the ocean. We only say that the nature of the waves, the inherent existence of the waves, is not a wave, but it is water, the water of the ocean. So this is the real approach that we must have in our understanding. Nobody said that because this universe is dreamlike or mind-like, and it is only made from is made of thought forms, everything is only a concept, everything is just a thought form. That doesn't mean that we can do whatever we like. That, for example, we can hurt somebody, we can kill somebody, we can say lies, we can take advantage of the so-called apparent others, and so on and so forth. No, because the appearance will be there also facing the consequences of our behavior and our activity. Just like if we will hurt somebody in the dream, we will face the consequence of hurting this being. This being may also hurt us, and we will experience suffering. But of course, we wake up and we realize that nobody was there. It was only us, as infinite consciousness. You see, this is the point of view of Advaita Vedanta. We don't negate the appearance, we negate the nature, the inherent nature or existence of everything that appears as autonomous, as self-existent. We say that there is only one existence, one beingness, one absolute truth with the name Brahman, and upon that absolute existence, we have appearances which do not exist by themselves. So all this duality and multiplicity do appear, but it is illusory. It is a hallucination. I don't know if Nagaraju wants some more elaboration.
That's clear. It's understood.
Okay. So, Emil, would you like to continue? Or you would like some clarification?
Sure. The next question. So, what was consciousness before the universe came into existence? I mean, did it just exist in a formless state? For which I don't have an answer.
Yes, consciousness is not a thing, and it's not something that is under constant change, as we are used to be, as we are used to see in everything that appears and disappears. So we used to believe that if something appeared, when it appeared, and what was its previous state. So we see, let's say, a burned wood, and we say how it was before. Because we know in this apparent world, in Jagat, and we know that whatever appears and disappears always is changing. Nothing remains constant. Everything changing constantly. And that's why there is this logical question in the thinking process. And what about consciousness? Was consciousness always the same? Or before it was conscious, it becomes consciousness, it was something else? It is a very logical question. But consciousness was never born and is never changing, never alternating itself. It is so subtle and it is so transcendental that we cannot say that it had a previous state. Its state is always the same. Its state is always pure knowing principle. And this knowing principle is what we call awareness or Brahman. It's something that it is in a constant knowing. As I said in one of my quotes of one of my books, Redefining Self-Realization, I write, the absolute truth or the ultimate truth is that there is only knowing, knowing, knowing. Nothing else exists. Everything is made of knowing. There is nothing else as a constituent. The constituent of everything that we see is simply knowing, even if it seems very strange. So consciousness cannot be in a previous state. It is always knowing, beginningless, ananti. Imagine how it will be if you were to remove the principle of knowing in each and every of your experiences. Let's say you eat a beautiful ice cream, and I ask you to remove the knowing principle from this experience. Can it remain something? It's impossible to remain anything. If you were to remove the knowing, there is no experience. So another example is that if I were to ask you, did you ever had an experience of a break or a pause in you consciousness awareness? Did you ever had an experience of a break of consciousness, of you consciousness? What will be your response? Is that possible?
No break.
It is impossible to have an experience of a break in you consciousness awareness. Why is that? Let's say you say to me that, yes, before 10 years, I had an accident and I had a break or a pause in my consciousness. I felt unconscious. People are using very often this phrase, I was unconscious. But it is a complete error. Because my next question will be, and what was aware of this unconsciousness? So even to say I was unconscious because I had an accident, that is revealing that something was there aware of your unconsciousness, correct? The same if you say before I was born, let's say, I was unconscious. And then I felt that I was aware when I born, when it was my birth. Then again, my next question will be, and what was aware of this birth? So there is something that it is impossible for, it is for awareness or consciousness to have a beginning point or to have a break or a pause. So it is constant. It doesn't have a beginning. It is unborn. And that's why it will be always unchanging and without any death, without any end. Yes, Malati?
So just you said that time of birth, I born, that you are, what is aware of your birth, you are asking. You asked. But if I say that my mother told I born, so I know that. I may say that. So I need a clarification here.
Yes, that is about the body-mind complex. That is about the Annamaya Kosa, the veil, the veiling of the Annamaya Kosa that was born, and not you consciousness. So your mother may say that this body of Malati, the Annamaya Kosa of Malati, was in this birth, in this particular date. It is okay, but this is not about consciousness. It is about the Annamaya Kosa. And of course, it's not for Sukshma Sarira and Karana Sarira. It is only for Annamaya Kosa, the veil of the physical, what we call physical body. Okay?
Okay.
We can't hear
So,
you.
Emil, you can start the next question, except if you need a clarification or a question.
Okay, so the next question is there something else besides consciousness which is eternal? So if it is, my answer is, to my knowledge, is that if it is meant by eternal, that it is beyond time, then no, there is nothing else besides consciousness which is eternal. Nothing else besides consciousness can be said to exist. The universe is an illusion only. And this applies to God or Ishvara as well. Ishvara is merely the intelligence which orders this illusory universe. But Ishvara is part of the illusion as well. So God is not eternal like consciousness. There is nothing else which can be said to exist besides consciousness or Brahman. So to you, Satchitananda.
Yes, we say in Advaita Vedanta that even God, Isvara, is mithya, which means impermanent, an appearance, which is Brahman plus Maya. Maya is also eternal, Anandi, not only Brahman. But on the other hand, Maya is not something different from Brahman. It is not something that exists apart from Brahman. Maya we call only this function in Brahman of projections, of appearances. But it is also eternal. Maya is also without a beginning. That's why we call it Anandi, beginningless. Anybody who would like to clarify something on that? Is it clear that also Maya is Anandi, eternal? But at the same time, that Maya does not exist as a separate entity from Brahman? You know, Vivekananda, they used to ask Vivekananda this question about Maya and used to say, go ahead to your next question, because it is something which is very, very difficult. And only if you insist in an Acharya or a Swami or a Guru will answer to you about Maya, because it is very, very complicated and very difficult topic. On the one hand, Maya does not exist as a separate entity apart from Brahman. On the other hand, Maya is also eternal and Anandi, beginningless. So that makes it very, very difficult topic. But again, Maya is not an entity apart from Brahman. Maya is all the appearances that do appear and disappear in Brahman. And the appearances are eternal. They never had a beginning point, if that helps you. Yes, Malati?
But Maya has an ending point, right?
No, Maya does not have an ending point. And also a beginning point.
So when we know that the Brahman is a whole and this consciousness is alone, Advaita, then there is no validity for Maya. So what I think is, when I get a machine, some gadget, I want to make use of that, like mixie. I want to make chutney or sambar, so I'll get my product. Then I should not worry about its working machineries and all. So I think that I never bothered about the working of Maya, illusion, or how it Maya works, what is the effect of Maya in this world. I never bothered about that. Then my approach may be wrong. What do you say? May I worry about that also, Maya?
Yes, Nagaraju. Open your microphone, Nagaraju.
Not working?
Yes, now it's audible, yes.
Oh, okay. Now, my understanding of Maya is it is time bound. Am I right? It is, everything is potentially available but not visible to humans, or it is not. It is going to happen in the future, and that is Maya.
Yeah, Maya is only an appearance, does not exist as a separate entity apart from Brahman. Is all these appearances. But you cannot
And
say
it is
that.
time bound, right? It is time bound.
Yes, Maya is time and space. It belongs to the concepts and the illusory appearance of the universe. Maya is part of the illusion, part of avidya. Actually, Maya is creating avidya, ignorance. And due to Maya, due to ignorance, avidya, we need self-knowledge, we need jnana. But at the same point, never existed. And if you say never existed, again, it is not the right phrase because it appears. So in Advaita Vedanta, we always say, go to the next question. Because you cannot say it never exists and you cannot say it exists. It is something in between. Because Maya never existed and at the same time it appears and creating problems. But it is creating problems in the illusion sphere. Nothing ever happened and nothing will ever happen. But it does appear. So when we see the blue sky, we say this is the blue sky. But if somebody will go up in the out of the planet, will see that there is no blue sky. Yes, but you cannot say that blue sky does not exist either. You say it appears, but it does not exist on the level of its true nature. The same with Maya. Maya does not have inherent existence. It does not exist by herself, by itself, but it creates this illusion, this avidya. And it is anandi, it is beginningless, eternal. It appears like it exists, but it never existed. There is only Brahman. It is a very, very difficult topic. Very, very difficult. Maybe the most difficult topic in Advaita Vedanta. After that, that scripture and many, many others, when we will end up one day in Panchadasi and other scriptures such as Astavakra Gita, Avadhuta Gita, and Ribu Gita, then we will see again that there is only Brahman, and there is never such thing as Maya, and there is never anything except Brahman, and everything is mental, everything is just a concept. Even to say Brahman, it is a concept, it is mental, it is not the absolute truth. But because the thinking process wishes to speak and wishes to put labels and give nama rupa names and forms, it uses the term Brahman. But in Ribu Gita, even that is negated, for example. But it is the most advanced scripture in Advaita Vedanta. These three scriptures, Ribu Gita, Astavakra Gita, and Avadhuta Gita, are the most advanced scriptures. And you can study them, but only through a strong guidance from a competent Acharya or Guru. But really, Maya is one of the most difficult topics in Advaita Vedanta.
Should each and everyone study about the Maya to know about the working of Maya?
There is ideally no way
Study.
that you can study Maya, right? You cannot
Exactly.
know what is going to happen in the next 1 hour. So that is Maya. So everything is potentially existent. Perhaps, in the next 2 hours, you could be having your dinner and going to sleep, which is again Maya. Perhaps if you don't go to sleep, it is Maya. So everything is potentially existing in time and space, which you cannot really feel and get to know in the present.
Yes, very well said. And also quantum physics, quantum mechanics, also they have arrived in that conclusion that there are infinite possibilities and everything is just a hologram, everything is just information, and there are infinite possibilities for appearances, and there is no any solidity. So everything is just consciousness, again, from the lips of quantum physics. Anything else, or to continue, Emil? Emil, you can continue if you don't need a clarification.
Okay, so the next question is, what caused the universe to exist? And I don't have any ability to answer that question. So, Satchitananda?
Yes, when we speak about a cause and effect, we are already in Maya. When we speak about what is the cause of something, we are already in the sphere of the illusory appearance. Nothing ever happened and nothing will ever happen. It seems that it appears something. Even if you say why it appeared something, the answer is it appears that it appears. If you continue asking and why it appears that it appears that it appears, next answer will be again, it appears that it appears that it appears that it appears. There is no cause and effect in reality. Cause and effect is also in the sphere of illusion. Of course, in cause and effect game, we need to function in this illusory world, because otherwise we will face the bad consequences and we will create dukkha, suffering. And when we act according to the Dharma, to the Dharmic rules, then we can experience more sukha, more happiness. So in this illusory world, there is the need of following the Dharma, because otherwise we will accumulate bad karma, papa, instead of accumulating good karma, punyam. But again, this is in the sphere of the dream, of the big dream. But the universe never had a beginning point. It never started, it never existed. So if you ask, and when it started to appear, there is no answer, because it never existed. So how something that never existed have a particular beginning point? It never existed. It is only an appearance. The same with Maya. We cannot say when Maya started to appear, because this is a time question. You presuppose that there is the existence of time. When you say when or how or things like that, you presuppose that there is the existence of time and space. But both of them are concepts. They are namarupa, names and forms. So the same with consciousness, the same with the universe. There is no beginning point because it never existed. In reality, it's only an appearance. So any questions about when or how, it is in the sphere of avidya, of ignorance, and it is in the sphere, in the scheme of things, which is including the time and space concepts. But there is not such thing as time and space. It is only a concept. They are both concepts. There is no such thing as time and space. There is only the eternal here and now, which is your true nature, your own self. The only one self. The eternal here and now. Any more clarification? Elaboration? Emil, is it clear?
Yeah, it is.
Then you can continue if you have another question.
Okay. Would it be correct to say that the universe is an appearance in consciousness? And the answer, to my best knowledge, is that yes, this is true. The universe is simply an appearance in consciousness. Many people assume that there is a world which is independent of them, but the universe, which is entirely illusory and does not exist at all, is only in consciousness. All the many worlds is in consciousness. In a dream, do we say that the dream is something apart from consciousness? The dream world is entirely mind-like, and the mind is something which is in consciousness, though it cannot be said to exist, the mind. It is likewise with the waking universe. The waking universe is mental, and the mind is something which appears in consciousness, though again, the universe does not truly exist.
Yes, exactly. This is the truth. That's why we use these prakriyas in Advaita Vedanta, these tools or methods, such as neti, not this, or another prakriya, atma, anatma viveka, or panchakosa viveka, and things like that, in order to show and to reveal that the universe is only an appearance in consciousness, just like the dream in the night. Everything appears just as real. People, you may walk in the streets in the city, you may see people walking, cars moving, buildings. You may enter a restaurant with a friend of yours and have lunch. And then after all this interaction with the so-called external universe and the so-called others, you wake up and you realize that everything was appearing in the screen of your consciousness. So the same with the big dream of life, it is just a dream and nothing more. Now, the point is to make this dream a nice dream, a pleasant dream, and not a nightmare. How? By following the dharmic rules, by following the prescriptions of the sages, by doing karma yoga, by doing upasanas, by doing the Vedic rituals, by having a moral lifestyle, a spiritual lifestyle, by following a Guru Parampara, a holy tradition, and a competent Acharya or a Guru, and things like that. All this we do for having a pleasant dream of life, illusory life, and not a nightmare. Until we will realize that our true nature, our true self, is always beyond any kind of dream, either a dream with sukham or a dream with dukkham. Our true self, consciousness, Brahman, awareness, is always unattached, unharmed, and completely in freedom. Would you like something more to elaborate, Emil? Or you can continue. You have another question also?
Yeah, I do. It's clear now. So
yes, so you can continue.
Okay. So last time I was inquiring into how Brahman can be said to be bliss. It is said that Brahman is the bliss and consciousness and truth, Satchitananda. And it just makes me wonder, is bliss not an appearance in consciousness? And just apart from consciousness taken in itself, how can Brahman be bliss if bliss is something experienced? And I wrote my answer to the best of my knowledge, or what I remember from our conversation, is that yes, it is true that bliss is an appearance in consciousness. But when it is said that Brahman is bliss, it is meant that the nature of Brahman is bliss. It is not meant in the sense that bliss is an experience or an appearance in consciousness, but that the very nature of Brahman is bliss and happiness. To you, Satchitananda.
Yes, exactly. Bliss or Ananda in Brahman is not an appearance, it's not something that appears at a particular point of time. It is just the nature of Brahman. That's why we know from the scriptures, the sastrams are saying that Brahman is of the nature of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Brahman is of the nature of Sat, infinite beingness and truth, Chit, infinite awareness, consciousness, and Ananda, infinite peace, happiness, and bliss. So this is the nature of our true self, of our true nature. It's not something that appears and disappears. Ananda is a lack of any kind of conflict, we can call it. It's just like when you are with your girlfriend or with your boyfriend or with your husband, with your wife, in a very, very happy moment where you feel total bliss, total happiness, total peace, total fulfillment, and there is no any kind of conflict. Or when you are in a deep meditative status where you are completely fulfilled and there is no anything at all that you need to add in order to feel this Ananda. But from the point of view of the Jivatmas, the body-mind complexes, there is no this recognition of Satchitananda because of the constant distraction from the veiling of the Panchakosas. So the Jivatma is always distracted due to the veiling of the Panchakosas, The Jivatma always is focusing on these mechanisms of these layers and forgetting to see the true nature, the true existence, the true beingness. Just like when you see a movie in the cinema, you forget that you see the screen and you are focusing on the story and the scenario and the protagonist in the movie. The same with the life story of your body-mind complex. You're focusing on that and you forget that you are this substratum, this space-like field of consciousness, of Turiyam, that everything as your life story, life scenario, appears and disappears. And in moksha, in self-realization, in jnanam, you have this permanent recognition and conviction that what you really are is this Turiyam, this fourth state, or this Satchitananda, the witnessing consciousness, the space-like field of consciousness, awareness, Brahman. Is it clear? Emil?
Yeah, it is clear. Perhaps someone else has a question?
Yes. Does anybody wish to say something or to elaborate? Okay. So that's all for today. It is already past 1 hour. Let's try to keep it 1 hour every time, because all of the body-mind complexes are full in duties in this dream. So we'll see each other in our next Satsanga. And in our next Satsanga, Andrew will offer his presentation. And before Sunday, Andrew, please post something according to your presentation to WhatsApp in order the others also to prepare any questions or to see your topic. So thank you very much for today. And who would like to close our Satsanga with chanting? Okay, Malati?
No, Nagaraju, continue.
Okay, Nagaraju.
Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Thank you.